Okay, I'm on with Trung from the Trung real estate team today. Love to get together with you, man, and just kind of BS about what's going on in the market. So it's the beginning of the month, so we get new stats from the real estate board about what happened in June. I'm not sure if you felt this or not, but the stats from June are really starting to they really confirmed what we felt at the beginning of the month. It was kind of like we just sort of felt the air come out of the balloon just a little bit at the beginning of June. Did you guys feel that at all?
I'm s- I found that the balloon was just way too full at the early spring,
Yeah.
that it was bound to kind of slow down just a little bit. That it was bound to kind of a little bit to be deflated for sure.
Yeah, and it's super good news for buyers, right? Like the market goes through this. We go through these periods of explosive growth, and then it tends to plateau. I think we're hitting a plateau, which is awesome. Like it's really good, but we don't want to freak people out either by saying that the sky is falling. Like sales were down 13% in June over June of 2023. But you got to remember June of 2023 was a record-setting month. So you got to take these numbers with a grain of salt. I think it's great for buyers right now. I really do. There's just less competition now. You watch showing counts, and so talk to me about what you're seeing in showing counts, and explain what showing counts are to people.
Showing count is when I just kind of loosely keep track of how many showings a listing's getting in general. What I observed in early spring was that a typical detached home in the suburbs, it could get 20 to 30 showings in the first weekend, where now a detached home in the suburbs is getting about like 10 showings per weekend. So it's still great showing activity, but just not as hot or as active as it was a couple months ago.
That's a killer point. That's 10 showings of the first weekend is amazing showing activity. But we've just
Mhm.
now, sellers in our market have become accustomed to, well, I'm going to sell my house in 4 hours and I'm going to have 100 showings, right? Everybody's just become accustomed to this. It's so funny to me how fast the market adapts to the newest condition. So now they've got to
Mhm.
adapt back the other way, that we're just starting to normalize a little bit. But even the new normal is still ridiculous compared to what we're actually used to over the long term.
100%. And I find that it's still a wonderful market for the sellers. It's still a seller's market and just alleviates a little bit of pressure from the buyers to make such a quick decision. That being said, if it's still a great listing that's priced very, very attractively, you can definitely see multiple bids.
For sure. And the pullback we're feeling is, and I don't know if you felt this, instead of our buyers in certain price points competing with 10 other people, now the air coming out of the market is they're competing with one or two, which still just blows my mind that this is a slowdown in the market, that we're like, oh wow, you're only competing with one or two other offers. That's great. That's good news for you. That's really
It's
good.
totally
Yeah.
it's totally a surprise. Yeah. Like, so you can
Yeah.
see that it is a slowdown a little bit. And even my buyer clients are noticing that they're seeing price adjustments, which
Yeah.
that did wasn't the case a couple months ago. So it's interesting to see kind of the minor nuances and the shift in the market. And we'll just see what happens in the remainder of the summer, right? We typically see the summer slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
For me as a having a young family, I want to take advantage of this summer. So we'll see how business is and number of transactions and sales.
Well, it's funny you say that we're starting to see price reductions. Well, I think that's because we've actually caught up in our pricing. Houses are now actually being priced correctly. I think in the spring we were still so far behind on pricing because the market was moving so much faster than we could adapt to what the newest price was, that now we've just actually caught up and we're actually pricing houses correctly now. The market sees it as, oh, the market must be coming down, but no, we've just figured out how to price for this market. That's really what's happened.
I would say that we would probably still see, a month over month price increase for benchmark. The benchmark pricing still increased by 1%.
Yeah.
I still think that we'll still see price increases month over month. And I think in the long run, Calgary real estate probably isn't going to slow down by too much, and we'll still see steady price gains. I still believe it's a great asset to get into.
Oh, totally. We're still like, there's just too many people living or moving here that need places to live, and we just don't have nearly enough houses for the amount of people coming here. This is just a plateau in the market. This is not a major slowdown. Now, the caveat to that is watch the trend. If 3 months from now we're sitting here going, well, that was an entire quarter of total pullbacks in every segment, we could be telling you a different story. But as of today, it's a plateau. Don't worry about it. Everything's just fine.
Totally agree. Totally agree.